welcome to Life in Envelopes. I am Jennifer Bleecher. This channel is all about planning, budgeting, paying off debt, and my very exciting journey from full-time teacher to full-time Etsy shop owner and YouTuber. So if that is something that you think you would like to see, then please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you along on this journey. Today we're going to be closing out the first week of September and budgeting for the second week of September using my Budget by Paycheck workbook by the Budget Mom, as well as some printable worksheets from my friend Budget with Ira. I am also using these category stickers from my friend Cara Jo Plans, and everything else you see today will be in my Amazon storefront. All of this is linked in the description box below, and anytime I have a discount code, it is also listed with the products. Okay, let's jump right in. Okay, I always like to start with the weekly check-in. The way I use her budget workbook is I do one check-in per week. So this is for week 1, and I just like to get an overview of how our spending went during the week. Now that we're doing cash envelopes, there's a lot more variety in color. Before cash envelopes, we'd have a lot of blues and yellows, which was food and miscellaneous, but now it's in one nice, neat little category. Okay, so that is the weekly spread. Let's see how this all breaks down on the monthly calendar. Okay, starting with debt, we had a mortgage payment come out on the 1st. Our mortgage payment is $1,317. That is for a 4-bed, 3-bath house in Iowa. Next is bills. We had one bill come out this month, and that was for, this week, and that was for State Farm for $159. So our State Farm insurance covers 2 vehicles and our homeowner's insurance. So that's $159. For food this week, it is a cash envelope, but I'm still tracking it. So we spent $180 on food. For gas, we spent $25 on gas. For miscellaneous, we did not spend anything, and I forgot I want to start tracking that. Even if I don't spend anything, I want to track that I didn't spend anything. Okay, for medical, I've decided to eliminate this category. So Logan, Jacob, and I are now on Medicaid based on my new income. And the only person who has insurance with a copay is David, and I just feel like it's not necessary. So we're going to eliminate medical. Okay, moving on to spending. We took out $45 for our spending money this week. That was $20 for David, $20 for me, and $5 for Logan. We do sinking funds once a month, and this week was our week to do sinking funds. So we spent $235 on sinking funds. And where that money comes from is these are our variable expenses. And anything that's left over in these envelopes at the end of the month, that's what goes to our sinking funds. So I'm really liking doing it that way, especially with this low income budget. It makes it fun. It does, guys. It makes it fun. Okay, so let's take a look at the week 1 budget and see exactly how we did budget versus actual. So for David's income, it was exactly $1,892, just as we had budgeted. Etsy was $250. Because I do Etsy 1 week in advance, I know that this amount is going to be exactly what it is, which is kind of cool. Okay, sinking funds was $235. So altogether, that came to $2377, and that is exactly what we budgeted for. Mortgage was $1317. State Farm was a little bit different than what we budgeted for, but not much. It was actually $1 more, so it was $159, and we had budgeted $158. So altogether, our fixed expenses, our bills and our debts, came to $1476. Okay, so $2377 minus $1476 is $901. So we were left with $901. And by the way, I'm getting a lot of this information from this worksheet here from Ira. I do my pre-work on this worksheet and then I do my final draft here. So we had 901. Okay, so before I fill in this section, let's head over to our cash envelopes and see how much money we have left in the cash envelopes. Okay, so we don't track my spending and Logan's spending. That's our money to spend however we want, and we don't track it. Okay, so for food and house, we budgeted 180. There's no money left. We actually spent 180 this week. Before this week, we've been doing really good about staying under budget and then having extra money to put in this envelope here, which is our miscellaneous envelope, which is our sinking funds envelope for the end of the month. But as you can see, I'm just looking here, we used all of our money this week. So that makes it easy. So we spent 180 on food, we spent 25 on gas, we did not use our miscellaneous or medical, and we spent 45 on spending. So altogether that came to $250. So 901 minus 250, that's 651. Okay, I'm going to bring that up here to our sinking funds. So we had 651. I did a video where we stuffed these together last week, if you want to check that out. But we decided to put 100 towards birthdays. We put 25 towards garbage, 49 towards meds, and 61 towards our annual memberships. We have 2 annual memberships a year, and one of them comes out in October, so we wanted to stuff that. Okay, so let me add all that together and see how much we put. It should be 235. Yes, it was 235. So 651 minus 235, that is 416. Okay, moving on to extra debt. We're not doing any extra debt right now. Let's go on to the rollover. So we need to roll over what we have remaining to next week to help cover expenses, because our only real paycheck is David's paycheck on the 1st. Other than that, it's just my variable income with Etsy and YouTube the rest of the month. So we have 416 to roll over, bringing our budget down to 0 for this week. I like to zero out my budget at the end of every week, which means I have a place for all of my money. Okay, let's go to week 2 and set up week 2. And again, I did my pre-work on this worksheet, so I'm just going to have that off to the side to help me write everything down here. So this is week 2. And the time frame was September 5th, or will be September 5th to September 11th. And we're starting with a rollover amount of 416. And the only additional income we have this week is my Etsy pay, what I made in Etsy last week. I do make a video where I share with you how I break down my Etsy income, or actually all of my business income. And that video came out last week if you want to check it out. And we made $266 in take-home pay. So what I do with that, so my rollover is to cover our fixed expenses and my Etsy pay is to cover our variable expenses. So what we get to spend on our variable expenses changes from week to week based on what I make in Etsy. Unfortunately, I know that we're not going to have enough money in our budget this month to cover all of our fixed expenses, so I am taking $20 right off the top from every Etsy check that I'm not going to use for variable expenses, that's going to be set aside for paying bills. Okay, so we only have one bill due this week, and that is our internet service. It's going to come out on the 11th, and we're budgeting $87. So that's a bill total of $87. Oh, I forgot to add these two together. So 416 plus 266, that's 682. So our total income for this week is 682. Okay, so 682 minus 87, that's 595. Okay, moving on to our variable expenses. We're going to write this down and then we're going to actually go and stuff those envelopes as well. So starting with, we start with $5.95. So this week we're going to put money in our food envelope, our gas envelope, our miscellaneous, and our spending. I have decided to take out the medical one. So if we do have any medical expenses that come up, I will just take the money from our miscellaneous envelope. Okay, so I was paid $266 from Etsy. $20 needs to be set aside for covered bills. That leaves us with $246. So, yeah. Okay, so $246. So for food, we're gonna set aside $150 for food this week. We're going to set aside $10 for gas. So you know, our food budget, that's for a family of 4 for a week, and I work from home and Jacob works from home with me. He's my oldest son, he's 18. So I make him and I a nice lunch every day, and then I make dinner for Jacob, Logan, and I every night. So I'm just really impressed with us, you guys. We've just been doing really well on our food budget. We used to budget 200, maybe even at least 200, and we always went over, but we've been budgeting 150 and we usually stay under. I mean, last week was a little bit of an exception, but we usually stay under. So I'm just really proud of us. That's just what I'm trying to say. Okay, so gas is $10. I've recently drastically reduced the amount I need to spend on gas, so that's really helping. So 45 goes to our spending. That's 20 for me, 20 for David, 5 for Logan. And then for miscellaneous, I'm going to just put what we have left over into the miscellaneous. So we had $266 minus the 20 that we're going to set aside for bills, minus 150 for food, minus 10 for gas, and minus 45 for spending. That leaves us with $41. So today we're going to put $41 in our miscellaneous envelope. And again, if that doesn't get spent, that gets rolled over at the end of the month to our sinking funds. So that's really fun. Okay, so I'm just going to add all these together and make sure they equal to 46. Yes, 246. So our envelope total is going to be 246. So 595 minus 246, 349. Okay, so before we go to the envelopes and finish and stuff those, let's just go ahead and finish this worksheet. So we're not putting anything towards sinking funds this week. I'm doing sinking funds the first week of the month based on what we made from the previous month. So we won't do sinking funds again till the first week of October. Right now, we're not putting anything towards extra debt. I'm looking forward to getting back to a place where we can do that because we still have debt that I would like to get paid off. Okay, extra savings. So the only thing we need to do is have a rollover amount for next week to cover our fixed expenses, our bills and our debts. So we have $349 left, and that's what we're going to roll over, which is a total of $349, bringing our budget down to 0. Okay, let's stuff the cash envelopes. Okay, so I just made myself a little cheat sheet of what worked on in the workbook because the workbook would not fit in frame if I were to put it here. So this is my binder for my business expenses. I put money in the tax envelope, which stays there until the end of the month, and then that's deposited into a savings account that is just for taxes. Okay, so here's the amount that we're going to get to stuff today. So I'm going to, it should be 246 minus 20 because David already got his 20, so it should be 226. Let's see how much we have. So we have 50, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 10, 20, 30, 5, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 226, perfect. Okay, so we're going to start with the spending envelopes. So I get 20, And let's just see how much I have in here left over. So I have 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. Oh, nice. I have $44 in my spending envelope. Actually, I already know some things I want to get, so that's nice. Okay, Logan gets $5. He never asked for his money last week, so it's still sitting here. He has his own wallet, and what usually happens each week is he asks for his money, and I give it to him, and he puts it in his wallet. He didn't ask last week, but I know he's going to ask this week because last night he was telling me, I think I finally have enough saved up for the Nerf gun that he's been saving up for. I've been trying, he really wanted this Nerf gun, and he kept trying to convince me to pay the difference. I'm like, nope, you have to save. And I'm so glad I made him do that. So he's really learning the value of saving for something that you want. Okay, moving on to food. We're gonna put 150 in our envelope. So 50, 120, 140, 150. I'm just gonna double count that, make sure I did that right. So 50, 120, 140, 150. So even though this was a smaller amount than last week, I'm secretly hoping we don't even spend that much and that we could put some extra in our miscellaneous. Okay, gas, we're just gonna set aside $10 for gas this week. I'm not doing medical. I think I'll take it out for now, but I'm not gonna get rid of it. I'm just gonna hold on to it in case I decide to bring it back. Okay, so that leaves miscellaneous, and we need to set aside $41 for miscellaneous. So here's 20, 30, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. And I always like to double count and make sure I did it right. 20, 30, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. Okay. So as long as we don't get into this miscellaneous, we already have $41 set aside for our sinking funds at the end of the month. Woohoo! Okay, so the last thing I want to do is take a look at our variable expenses and see how close we are to staying on track with those. So food this week, we started with $180. We spent all of that this week. And today we deposited 150. So 180 minus 180 is 0 plus 150 gives us 150 to start the new week. So we are starting week 2 with $150 in that envelope. Gas, we budgeted $25, we spent $25, and today we added $10. So 25 minus 25 is 0 plus 10 is a positive amount of $10. So for gas, we are starting next week, or week 2, with $10. Miscellaneous, we had 0 to start with. We did not use anything on miscellaneous. And today we deposited $41. So that leaves us with $41 to start week 2. Okay, for spending, we had 45. We took out our 45. Today we added 45, so we have a rollover of 45. So we're starting the week with 45. Okay, so that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed today's video, will you please give it a thumbs up? And I will see you all again next time. Bye, everyone.